Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to my kitchen. So many of us wonder, how do I prepare my home to make it healthy? And as many of you who are starting my Keto Metabolic Reset Program lifestyle plan are just wondering, what can I do? What do I need in my home to have these healthy ingredients on hand? So I thought I would just take you through step by step different parts of my kitchen. So first we'll start with the stove and the range. So I do like to cook, and I love to have things in easy access. I have a gas range, by the way, just because I love the high heat and the ability to be able to adjust it really quickly. So what do I have in my home? So I like to have all my oils quite close by and very handy. So let's see what I have here. So first you can see I've got some avocado oil. I really like using avocado. It has a very high heat point and it doesn't add a lot of extra flavor to food, so it's a great one to have on standby. I've got a few flavored oils as well. This one is a lemon olive oil, and all of my extra virgin olive oils, I really save them for raw foods. I don't like to cook with olive oil. Olive oil at a high temperature is not good for us. It's better to have it in the pure form, and that's best raw on salads or just on freshly cooked vegetables. I do have my big bottle of my extra virgin olive oil. This one I happened to get at Costco. And let's see what else I've got back here. Of course, we've got some MCT oil. So some of you that know keto know that MCT is kind of a constituent of the bulletproof coffee in the mornings. Personally, I prefer to use butter plus coconut oil, but sometimes I will use butter plus my MCT oil as well for some instant energy. And then back here on my shelf, behind all my cooking pans, I've got some things that I do like to have close by. One is fish sauce. I spent some time in Thailand and I really like that sweet and salty taste. And fish sauce is great, and it's got no carbs to be worried about. And then another flavoring I have, and you can see it's in a smaller bottle, is sesame oil. Sesame oils tend to go, because it's a seed oil, it tends to go rancid a little bit more quickly. And also, you don't have to use very much of this sesame oil. It's great in a salad that I make with cucumber, or another salad that I make with fennel. Gives it a great taste, and you don't have to use very much. And also back here on my shelf, let's see, I've got some truffle oil. So many people think about truffle mac and cheese. Well, we can do truffle cauliflower and cheese. And again, very intense, potent flavor. You don't have to use much of it. And if you see a little bit of my pots and pans that I've got here on the side, I'm really a fan of rock style cookware. Stainless steel is great to use as well, but when I have my frying pans, I find that the rock really works well. We want to avoid anything with Teflon, because Teflon can release carcinogenic bits. Those are cancer-causing chemicals, so we don't want any of that. And I like to cook, so I've got a variety. I've got my baby pan for when I just want to cook up some eggs. And if you can see here at the side, I've got two larger size pans, and I've got one other pan. It's like a griddle, so it's great for cooking up bacon. It's really good for fish. Things don't stick much to it at all, so it's a great one to use. And this set, actually, I got them all at Canadian Tire. Look on the sales. They run pretty cheap sometimes. And on the side, well, you've probably seen one of my protein sources. I have my eggs out. I like to get my eggs sourced locally. I have a few farmer friends that I get the eggs from, and eggs are okay to keep on the counter. The biggest concern with eggs is when you get them at the grocery store, you really never know the day they came off the line. But I leave my eggs out on the counter, and I haven't had any problems. So other things close to the range, of course, are some spices that we put in things. So on the top, of course, we need a little bit of heat to food. So I've got good old-fashioned Tabasco sauce, and I've got a really good hot pepper sauce that I had picked up when I was in Mexico. A little bit of heat to food is wonderful, and again, these things have no carbs to be worried about. And up above, I've also got some Worcestershire sauce. You know, a lot of us really like our keto Caesar salads, or just keto Caesar salad in general is great. So you'll need a little bit of this stuff involved. I do have some cooking spray. Generally, when I cook, I just like to put either the oil directly in the pan, but sometimes you want a little something if you're greasing a baking sheet or something. And I actually use coconut oil. I prefer it because, again, it has a very high smoke point. And I had to buy this one online at Amazon as I didn't see any in my local area. And up above to, let's see, I've got some vinegar. So vinegar is great for us. It's good for cleaning your home, but also I put some vinegar when I poach my eggs. And I guess as I talk about eggs, as we're cooking them, it's always best, if possible, to have your egg a little bit runny in the middle. It will actually absorb a little bit more. I know hard-boiled eggs, all kind of eggs in any form are wonderful, but sometimes if you can kind of alternate in having a soft-boiled egg that's been poached, or if you just might want to have your eggs over easy when you're cooking them in the frying pan. And I've got my spices up here, some peppercorns. Okay, this little guy, he might have to go. So this is a balsamic vinegar that I picked up at Costco. It's super, super yummy, but guess what? Balsamic vinegars can really run high on the carbs. So this little guy, if you look, he's got 10 grams of carbs in 2 teaspoons. So these are the things that we really need to watch out for. Most vinegars don't have much sugar in them, but balsamic, because it's aged and fermented, then it really brings out the sugar flavor. So it's something that you can use for your family. You know, you can use it as a top-up, so you don't have to toss it for those that are doing their pantry clean out. But if you're on keto, you want to avoid the aged balsamic. And I like to keep my soy sauce handy too. So this one here that I have is the Tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce. So you do need to watch for this with a lot of the brands that are out there. And the other thing that you can look for is coconut aminos, because they're just coconut turned into a flavored soy sauce. And they're not going to have any carbs or any gluten to be worried about. Well, they'll have carbs if you use enough of them. So again, let's look at this. So a tablespoon does have a gram, but most of us, if we're putting a little bit of this on, like in a cauliflower stir fry, like a cauliflower fried rice, you're probably not going to be using a whole tablespoon. So be cautious with it. You know, it does have some carbs. And I've got my salt and pepper on standby. And what do we got here? Oh yeah, my Himalayan rock salt. So I love this. You can get it all different kinds of locations. But when I'm going into keto, especially if I'm transitioning in and those first few days when your body's kind of diuresing, it's getting rid of a lot of water, it really pays to have extra salt on board. And for most people, as they've been told when they're starting keto, we like you to have about 2 teaspoons a day. Now this is not for everybody, but in keto, you're losing water. So we need to add a little bit of sodium back in. And personally, I'll just lick it or put it in a glass of water with a little bit of lemon or lime juice for some flavoring. So that's, I think, my basic spices. And as you can see, my kitchen, I like to have it kind of prepped and ready. I've got my ladles on board. I've got lots of cutting boards close by, because it's great to be able to have things close and handy when you like to cook. So I'll just move over a little bit and show you one of my my drawers where I keep my nut supply. So let me just pull the camera off right now. So I'm not really much of a videographer, but you're just getting like the raw version of my home. So what do I have inside here? I love nuts. I love nuts in many varieties and forms. So you can see I love using mason jars and keeping myself a little bit organized. So I've got a blend here. I've got my Brazil nuts. I do have some flaxseed. I've got cocoa nibs. I've got cocoa powder. I've got cashews, which again, I use sparingly when I'm in keto. They do have a higher carb content. Macadamia nuts are there. We've got pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia. And I'll just show you some of my other brands that I have inside. So this is my huge jug of coconut oil. Now, that's the Kirkland brand. I love my coconut oil. I have a spoon in my drawer, and essentially I just kind of take it by the spoonfuls. I usually cook my eggs in coconut oil. And what do I have here? Oh, this is amazing. So this is my extra virgin olive oil. I picked it up last year in Italy, and I'm down to my last tablespoons, but it does pay to buy a good quality extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to look for some suppliers in Canada, because the fresher, the better it is with olive oil. And again, when you're in keto, you can have like tablespoons of this a day. Or if you're following a Mediterranean diet, this is wonderful stuff to have too. And in addition to the many nuts and seeds, of course, I keep my baking supplies. I've got some cornstarch back there. I've got some baking powder and soda. And I've got these two little great packages. So many people may not be familiar with xanthan gum or this other guy who's guar gum. So what they are, they're basically just thickening agents. So when we use cornstarch, it really has a lot of carbohydrates. But when we use these, we have to use just a very minimal amount, which doesn't add a lot of carbs to your food, but thickens things up. Like if you're trying to make like a soup, like a creamy soup, it'll really goes a long way to thickening things. And some other things in my drawer that I guess it's almost clean out time. So I've got some quinoa. So I was eating this when I had my time off of keto. It was sprouted quinoa, but now that I'm back in keto again, that will be going up, or I'll leave that for family when they come by, like the kids. It's great to have quinoa. It's a healthy alternative to rice. It tastes really good and it's really quick and easy to cook. And then the other thing I've got back here, I do keep some like herb powders around. This is ashwagandha root powder. So I do like to make smoothies and shakes sometimes, and I'll add this directly into my smoothies and shakes. So the last thing as I kind of go through this area of my kitchen is literally, I just kind of showed you some of the nuts that I buy. I picked these ones up online. It's really important when you're talking about nuts to get them fresh and also the way that you store them. So this is on the bag on the left is a huge bag of macadamia nuts. So I buy that, I dish it out in my bottles, and I keep it in the freezer until I'm ready to use it again. And then on the right, I've got Brazil nuts. I like to eat 4 Brazil nuts in the morning. They're an amazing source of selenium. And selenium is a natural mineral that we all need in our diet. It has a very low threshold for what we need. Some people will take a supplement, but I like to have it in the raw nut form. And as you can see at the back, I do have my vitamins. So I do take a few supplements, and I'll talk about them on another episode when we really discuss more about how to have a healthy keto home. So it's been a pleasure, everyone, talking with you today. And I guess I will close up now. And if you have any questions on what you've seen, or if you'd like some more information, please just feel free to Facebook me. Have a great day from Dr. Keenan's Kitchen. Bye.